I cannot believe how quickly this year is going by, and rather than wait until the very end to try and share everything that I've been doing in my journaling, I decided to break it up at about the halfway point. We're a little beyond the halfway point, but that's okay, and share with you where I'm at in my journaling, what I've been creating, what's been working, what maybe I want to improve in the next few months, and hopefully give you some ideas and inspiration. So in today's video, we're going to be back in my Common Planner. Mostly I use this for planning out my weeks and my days and everything that I need to get done, but I also have been using all of the blank pages at the back that look like this for some daily journaling and memory keeping. So that's what we're going to walk through today. If you want to see the planning aspect of my Common Planner though, make sure you check out my most recent video. I'll have it linked in the cards and down below, where I walk through how my planning has been going so far this year. But today we're going to be talking all about the journaling. So as is typically the case at the start of a new year, I really started out strong. I had the intention of trying to get back into more of a daily journaling mindset where every single day at the end, I would sit down and just jot down some memories from what happened. So you can see I have the January 1st with some stickers from all of my Patreon collections. New Year, same God. Was starting to really enjoy my mushroom coffee that I got for Christmas from Rise. I have that linked in the description if you're interested in trying it with a coupon code. It is so good. And then we watched The Sound of Freedom. So I just did the kind of main slogan quote from that, which is God's children are not for sale. Very powerful film, very difficult film to watch, but worth the watch. And then we went to Boyd Big Tree Preserve and then got to go on a hike with some snow on the ground. So just documenting that day here on the left. And then as we get into more of the week, you can see I have multiple days on one page. We have Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I do this a lot when I'm doing daily entries. Rather than trying to commit a whole day to each page, breaking up the page into multiple days can just make it a lot more manageable, because then you're just focused on what exactly you want to document from that day with a small little vignette, rather than filling up an entire page when maybe you don't have as much to say. We enjoyed some Korean beef bowls and used some stickers to document that. I was listening to an audiobook, so I have my little audio type sticker, which is part of the Daily Rhythms collection. Did some weight training and a 2-mile run, and then just kind of wrote about some organization I was doing in my studio. For this day, I used a sticker and just put keywords for things that happened on this day in the middle, and then wrote a little bit around it. On the 6th and 7th was a really great weekend with my friends, so I just kind of wrote about that, used some stickers to decorate it, but you can tell it's really quite simple in the way that I am journaling, working really well for me though. And these stickers, I should mention, are ones that I absolutely love and use them throughout this journal. They're not dated in the sense of not having a year or specifying the day of the week. So it allows you to use them regardless of the year you're in, but they literally are just these little date stickers, one for every day of the year, and are just so fun to mark the date on your pages. And these are ones that I found on Obujo, so highly recommend you look for these there. They have so many great journaling supplies, and I have a discount code in the description. Here is an example of something I do quite frequently as well, which is to document an entire week all together on one page and do it more in a bulleted list format if you feel a little overwhelmed. Sometimes by doing long form journaling, trying to break it down into bullets can be a really nice way to organize your thoughts and just focus on the big ideas. So you can see that is what I've done here, and just some examples of the types of things that I write in a bullet. We had lots and lots of rain on Tuesday. Grateful for our new sump pump. I've finally perfected the medium venison steak, just the right amount of pink. I started reading Demon Copperhead, one of Ben's favorite reads of 2023. 10-minute dentist appointment. That might be a new record, but no cavities. So that just gives you a little sense of the everyday mundane things that I like to document, but they're so fun to look back on and think about what I was focused on, the things that stood out as little joys in my day. It's just a ton of fun. And with having so much rain, you can see I used this little illustration here of the rain on the house. This next entry goes on to 2 pages and documents MLK weekend when we went away to the White Mountains for some ice climbing and hiking. And I just did bullets again to focus on the highlights. And you can see I really have just been focused on using stickers and really don't use photos at all so far for the most part in these daily entries, in part because I really didn't want to bulk this up since I'm more focused on the planning aspect and don't want this to get too cumbersome, but also because I use photos in my monthly journal entries and also in my travel journal entries. So a trip like this has a ton of photos that I want to document, but rather than put them in here, I actually put them in my travel journal instead. Here I document an entire week, the 16th through the 21st, and am doing more of a recap of how I've been feeling this week, a little bit more focused on the emotions of the week rather than on the specifics of things that were happening, which is something I like to do as well. Here I use one of my stickers that is available on my Patreon. I love the winter collections that are available there. And then these 2 images are actually from my tiny book of Tiny Pleasures by Flow Magazine. And this is available on Amazon and is so cheap. It's like, I think less than $7. So I think it is such a good steal for journaling to buy this book and then have the purpose of wanting to cut it up to be able to use all of the little images and the captions that they have for all of these little joys of life. It's just so much fun, and I love using these images in my journaling. Here again, these images are also from the tiny book of Tiny Pleasures, and I again am documenting a week all together. And you can see, again, kind of just focusing on the big highlights, which in this case was the fact that we were watching All Creatures, Great and Small, some of my all-time favorite books. I'm currently actually reading through his memoirs, James Herriot, that is. And also there's a fabulous show on BBC, which I actually started watching before reading the books and absolutely adore it, so can't recommend that enough. But this illustration was just too perfect for documenting watching this show. The new season had come out, so I just wrote the title of the show on there. And then this sticker is one of the stickers from, again, a sticker collection that I get from Obujo. These are just word strips that I love to use, but sometimes with Obujo and some of the more like Japanese sites, the English translations are just a little odd, and sometimes the phrases are just weird, like where did they come up with that? But sometimes it weirdly works really well. And this was one of those cases where rains, cars, and dogs is not 3 words on a sticker that I ever thought I would use, but it described this week perfectly. It rained a lot. Of course, we were watching All Creatures Great and Small, so focused on dogs. And then the cars thing came in with the worst part is ... that we had our car totaled because somebody actually had a medical emergency and passed out at the wheel and ran into our parked car in front of our home and totaled it. So we ended up having to get a whole new car. Very much an unexpected accident. Luckily, the woman was okay, but I just was kind of writing about that experience. And yeah, these stickers just worked out weirdly well for documenting that week. Here I transition into February, and so I'm just kind of documenting the fact that January went by really fast and probably didn't make as much progress as I wanted to. So just writing about that and giving myself some grace for that feeling at the start of a new year where you already feel behind. So that is what I was focused on. And this sticker from the February collection was perfect for focusing on those ideas. And then all of the cute little floral stickers are actually a washi tape in which you peel off the little flower petal pieces, and then you kind of just put them all over your page. So a very fun and different type of washi tape. I really love the style of these pages. Again, documenting kind of in a daily format, using some layering and collage, a mix of washi and stickers from Obujo and things that I buy along the way, but also mixed in with my own stickers available on my Patreon, and just documenting life as it goes by. I also experimented with using a different ink color and really love that look. I had just bought these new Write-Tech gel pens that come in different colors and really, really love these. They're linked in my Amazon shop. Here again, we're just using some fun little decor items, but really focused more on the journaling, you'll notice, in this form of my journaling as opposed to the way that I document in my monthly pages or in my travel journal, which is more of a scrapbook style. I really aim to be more about the words and just using the creative elements more as an added bonus rather than the point of the page. On this particular day, it started to get nicer out even though it was February, so I've got Sunshine on My Mind was a great sticker to use for that entry. And then that Saturday, we went for a really lovely walk at the White Cliffs of Kenoi, had some great coffee, did a really fun little stencil and stamp ink kind of background that I really love to give the effect of the trees where we went for a walk. So I just had a lot of fun kind of decorating this entry. Here is a great example of an entry where I'm getting out of the focus on dailies and expanding into more themed pages. In this case, I was doing a book review page for Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver and had a lot of fun with this cool paper I got from Obujo that has this great little library scene, but then also was using some images that represent some of the themes in the book, really hard themes in this book. So definitely kind of beware if picking this one up. I think it is a fantastic read, but it does have difficult themes and a lot of language, so keep that in mind. But it was really fun to think about symbols for this book. Demon Copperhead, the main character, had a fascination with the ocean, so I used this image of a ship. Addiction is really big, so I have a little kind of pill bottle here. So it was just really fun to create this page and think about some of the symbols that might not be very apparent to the average viewer of this page, but if you've read the book, you can kind of pick up on those nuances. We had a great time for the Super Bowl this year on February 12th, and I got to use some of my Super Bowl specific stickers that I created for that month's collection, which is super fun. And yeah, just documenting an amazing time that we had gathering with friends. None of us are big football people, but the reason to gather is what it's all about for us, and we had a great time. Here again, I'm documenting the weekdays together and just using a sticker with a little label to indicate where we are at in the year, and then doing the bulleted list again, which I just think is such an easy and nice way to do journaling, especially if you're just starting out. Here I do something very similar, but in a different style. We are doing weekly notes and did a little vignette in the middle of the page so that it kind of is being a center point and then writing around it not necessarily in bullets, but each of these pieces kind of stands on its own as an individual memory from the week, and just documenting some notes about the week. And I really like this style as well. You can definitely tell as I'm going along here that I become less focused on daily entries and more kind of on weekly recaps, but still was doing pretty well at getting into my journal. Here we have the 26th through March 2nd. I did a little verse of the week, I think, that we were studying at church. And then on March 3rd, I had a really sweet Sunday and got together with a friend for coffee and crepes. And so was just having fun with some lettering and this really cute image of a coffee cup. Again, documenting the weekdays all together. So we have a really beautiful and fun little collage here. I think I did even some stamping, layering with stickers, and then in this case, I actually used one of my journal prompt stickers, which is sometimes I get down on myself for not doing more, but then I remember ... So a really great journaling prompt that is available on my Patreon. Every single month I put out new journaling prompts to kind of inspire you in your journaling. And there's a whole backlog of journaling prompts that you can go and download and use. And I often now design them so that they're also a fun addition to your journaling. But I just used that as my prompt for that day, or the week rather, reflecting on the week, and just wrote then about that experience and used this sticker to sum it all up: grow your own joy. And then over here, I also, again, got coffee with a friend, and I really love this little vignette here at the bottom. I just love this corner to document that time getting coffee. And I think I actually created this entry as part of my week in my journal vlog. So you can actually see me going to the cafe and then documenting the day here in my journal. So that is really fun. And then as part of that vlog as well, I tried a new recipe, which is bobotie. I believe I'm saying that correctly. It is a South African staple, and some history, I guess, is that it originally, I think, developed in Indonesia, but I had all the ingredients for this recipe and found it in one of our cookbooks, so decided to give it a try, and we absolutely loved it. So I show you that recipe and then document it here in my journal as part of that week in my journal vlog. And then you can see I just kind of wrote down the ingredients, the recipe, and then my quick little review of it. Used again a Tiny Little Pleasures image, which this actually looks a lot like what bobotie is, so it worked out really well. And highly recommend you give this recipe a try and check out that week in review vlog if you haven't already. So then I get back into my dailies with March, and we had some snow, so I just did some journaling about that, had coffee that day. And then we had our spring break, so I had kind of a random day off and was getting into baking. So I used, again, a Tiny Little Pleasures image and put that here in my journal. That kind of just goes to show you that when you're just starting out, you can literally buy just something like this, or one sticker book, or become a patron on my Patreon and download the stickers from there. And all you need is that one resource, and you would be amazed at how you can just keep using that resource over and over again in your journaling. And it gives a really nice cohesive look and is so beautiful and fun, while also allowing you to be creative and try new things, even though your supplies are a little bit more limited and focused. I just highly recommend finding one or two resources if you're just starting out, like the Tiny Little Pleasures book, or becoming a patron, where I have hundreds and hundreds of stickers available for you. And that alone can really give you a launching pad to get started with creative journaling. So this next entry, we have a little bit of a time jump. You can see we have March 11th here, and now we're on the 22nd. And this is actually, I think, the first time that I didn't have some time documented, whether in a daily or weekly format. And that actually is just going to continue as we go on, so it's okay. But for this day, I wanted to get back into documenting because we went to see Daniel at the Sight and Sound Theater, which is a theater, if you're not familiar, that creates their own absolutely amazing productions of books of the Bible and kind of brings them to life into these amazing musicals. And so for Christmas, we actually got tickets for our family to take them. And so this is just a little cutout from the playbill that they give you with all of the information in it for all of the actors. And then I just added this little did you know about the Babylonian Empire and kind of describing the influences that they were thinking about when creating this musical, but just a really fun way to document the experience. And then the next day was March 23rd, which is actually my birthday. And I turned the big 3-0 this year. So I just documented my day briefly. I got coffee from Starbucks because I always get my free birthday Starbucks, and had some flowers delivered from a friend. So I just wrote that down here with this cute little sticker. Got to do some thrifting, and so that was just fun to document. And then here I have some gardening documented, getting to see the crocuses start to bloom in March. And so that celebration just continues on to this page with a little quote sticker from Patreon. And you can see that I have a little card here that was given to me. This next entry is, again, not a specific day, but more of a theme entry where I wanted to document my spring favorites. Since I had created all of these fun stickers for Patreon, I thought it would be fun to use them to kind of document some of the things that stand out to me the most in the spring that I most enjoy, and just used them as the titles for these different reasons why I love spring. So first blossoms, the feeling of the sun on a cool day, planning out my garden, more time outside. And then by each of those reasons, I just wrote a little bit more about why I like that particular thing. So a really fun entry that you can create for any new season is just create a list of all of your favorite things about that time of year. Here we have quite a time jump again. We were in March for my birthday, and now we're a little bit towards the end of April with documenting a really fun weekend. You can see I just kind of scattered the days of this weekend across the page, and then wrote about the entire weekend over the 2-page spread, just going down from top to bottom, and used some really beautiful stickers from Obujo that I just kind of put on the 2 corners to act as kind of a framing element, and then used some washi tape and this great little piece that I basically just ripped out from a free pamphlet from the state park that we went to that weekend. So a really fun time, great memories documented in the words here, but I also just love the look and feel of this entry as well. Here I have a single day, April 25th, but did it in a highlights format. So I just used a brush pen, so some lettering to write out kind of big moments in a bigger font, the highlights of the day, if you will. So a library book sale, going on a run and having some sunset stretches outside, and then just did little arrows to write a little bit more detail about those experiences. Again, using the same materials over and over again. There's no shame in that. So again, I have a little illustration from that same book, and I added my own little illustration of the sun here, and I think it just kind of really makes this feel very personal and a fun entry. And then we have May 19th, where I just did a border of this fun scallop washi tape and wrote about the day in there. And because on that day, one of the highlights was seeing a hummingbird visit the memorial garden I planted for my mom, I actually did a watercolor illustration in these really fun metallic watercolors of that experience. So just a fun way to document experiences too is when you can actually bring in your own way of illustrating or bringing that experience to life. And then after May 19th, my journaling has kind of fallen apart and I wasn't really doing any journaling in here. I did this page mostly just for my interactive journaling video because I wanted to show using these free printables available on my Patreon. If you're a free patron, you can access these little window cutouts. And so I wanted to create a page using these windows to show you how to use them. So that honestly is why I created this page, and then just wrote kind of a little bit about spring and the transition to summer. And then the last entry I've created in this journal so far this year is from June. So I haven't even been documenting any of July. I'm hoping to do some big transitioning back to this form of journaling because it was so fun looking back on this. And I really do want to have the second half of this year to look back on as well. So this is my message to me to say, all right, like, let's get back to it and get more into journaling again. I just kind of fell by the wayside this summer, but you can see my last entry was just kind of June 2024 in general. It wasn't specific to an exact date, but I wanted to document this lemon cake recipe that I actually got from the book series that I picked up at the library book sale, which was this Rose Cottage book mystery series. And as part of it, the main character is always making this lemon cake. And so here, if you want to do a little screenshot, are the ingredients. It's so simple, such a simple cake recipe. And then the directions on the back. So they just had like this little card of the recipe included with the book series. So I just cut that out and put it in here, and then did a little bit of decorating, some kind of notes about how I like to decorate the cake with powdered sugar and mint and berries, and used a pretty little lemon image and some lemon washi. And then this image here is actually from Daphne's Diary, my favorite magazine to get. It's just so much fun to receive this magazine. You can actually see here is where I cut it out from, but there are just the most gorgeous images in this magazine, and it's also super fun to read. Very much a creative's dream in terms of receiving a magazine, and has tons of paper goodies in it for you to cut out, but also all of the images that are in it are so beautiful and worthy of cutting out after you're done enjoying the magazine to use in your journal as well. So that is where this beautiful lemon cake image is from. So like I said, that is where I'm at currently in my journaling. I have plenty of blank pages left still to fill. I'm actually on page 45 since I wasn't using a page per day. I had a lot of pages where it was weeks combined, and I have like 120 pages that I can fill. So that means there's no reason not to be back into my daily and weekly journaling and getting back into this rhythm, documenting books I'm reading, documenting recipes. So that is what I am hoping to get back into as we move into the second half. We're already well into the second half of the year, but these next few months before we transition to a new year, I really want to make sure that this year is documented. So that is a peek into where I'm at. I hope that you found these entries to be inspiring for your own journaling. I'd love to know how your journaling is going this year so far. My next flip through in the series is going to be of my monthly journal, so make sure that you are subscribed. And if you haven't seen it already, definitely check out the first video in the series where I walk you through all of my planning and how that has been going so far this year. Thank you so much, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. And in the meantime, consider watching one of these videos next, for more inspiration to explore your creativity and document your life.